Morning breaks, and 10,000 tiny wings turn sunlight into work. This is the honeybee, one body made from many, a city that flies. Today we step inside the hive to see how a queen lays the future, how workers run the present, and how a colony reads the world well enough to turn flowers into food. A honeybee colony is a superorganism. One queen lays the eggs. Thousands of workers, sterile females, do everything else. A few hundred drones, males, exist for one purpose: to mate with queens from other colonies. Together they act like a single mind, each be a cell in a living machine. Look closely at the tools. Antennae are the nose and fingertips, reading scent, taste, humidity, and vibration. Compound eyes catch fast flicker and see ultraviolet patterns that flowers paint as landing guides. A proboscis, the long tongue, dips deep for nectar. On the hind legs, smooth baskets called corbiculae pack pollen. Wax glands on the abdomen sweat translucent scales that become architecture. And at the end of a worker's body, a barbed stinger defends the city at real cost. Once used against a thick-skinned attacker, the worker usually dies. A worker's life turns like a clock. Day 0 to 3, egg, day 3 to about 6. Larva, fed first with rich royal jelly, then with balanced brood food. Then the cell is capped. Inside, the larva becomes a pupa, reorganizing from worm to wing. On emergence, she begins indoors, cleaning cells, warming brood with her body, and feeding young larvae from glands in her head. Mid-age workers secrete wax, build comb, receive nectar from foragers, and ripen it toward honey. Older workers guard the entrance, fan air to regulate temperature and scent, and finally take to the sky as foragers. Age and job are linked, an elegant system called age polyethism, yet flexible enough to reshuffle when the colony needs it. Communication keeps the city coherent. Inside the dark comb streets, a returned forager performs a waggle dance, a figure 8 with a vibrating run that encodes a map. The angle of the waggle in relation to gravity marks the direction relative to the sun. The duration of the waggle run marks distance. The vigor hints at reward quality. Nestmates press in, sample the dancer's scent, and triangulate destination from both message and memory. Pheromones layer messages onto the air. The queen's scent keeps the workforce unified and reproductive roles clear. Alarm pheromone primes the guards. The Nasanov scent rallies lost bees home. In a world of light and wind, language runs on vibration and smell. Architecture is physics in wax. Bees link legs in living chains, festooning, measuring space as they pull wax scales and knead them warm into hexagons. The hexagon is the colony's signature: maximum strength and storage with minimum material. Brood nests sit in the warm core of the hive, ringed by arcs of pollen and capped honey. Temperature is held near 35 degrees Celsius over developing pupae. When heat rises, workers fan like 1,000 tiny fans and bring water to evaporative cool the brood. When cold bites, they cluster tight around the queen, shivering flight muscles to make heat and slowly rotating positions so no bee freezes at the edge. Foraging is commerce with weather. A forager lifts into the wind already tuned to time of day, memory of bloom and hints of storm. She tests flowers with feet and tongue, prefers those rich in sugar, and learns which species reward today. Nectar fuels the city once transformed into honey. Pollen is protein and vitamins, building bees. Water cools and thins honey for brood food. Propolis, tree resins chewed and mixed with wax, seals cracks, polishes rough edges, and acts as an antiseptic varnish over the hive's interior. Each trip weighs distance against reward and risk. A good patch nearby beats a great patch too far away. Honey is chemistry and patience. A forager stores nectar in her honey stomach, not her true gut. Back home, she shares the drop mouth to mouth with a house bee who adds enzymes like invertase to split sucrose and glucose oxidase to create mild antiseptics. The nectar passes from bee to bee, spread thin over comb to increase surface area. Fanning evaporates water until the sugar concentration rises so high that microbes cannot grow. Then the cell is capped with a delicate wax lid. What began as sunlight in a flower's cup becomes a shelf-stable food that can outlast seasons. Queens are made, not born. Any larva fed only royal jelly from day one can become a queen. Workers build special vertical queen cells, flood them with the rich diet, and let development speed up. A virgin queen emerges sharp and restless. She seeks rivals, and if she can, destroys them. Or a duel decides who stays. On warm days, she flies to drone congregation areas, mating with many drones in midair. Sperm stored in her body will last for years of egg laying. Back in the hive, she settles into the center of a living ring of attendants and begins to lay, sometimes over 1,000 eggs a day in peak flow. When the city grows crowded and nectar flow runs high, colonies reproduce at the superorganism level. They swarm. Workers build queen cells. The old queen slims down to fly. Half the colony floods out, gathers as a living beard on a branch, and sends scout bees to find a new home. Scouts compare sites, cavities with the right volume, height, entrance size, and dryness, and advocate by dancing. The best dances recruit more scouts to inspect the same site. A quorum forms. The mast lifts and pours into a new address, where wax begins to flow and a new city emerges in hours. Enemies press the hive from within and without. Varroa mites ride bees and breed in brood cells, spreading viruses that weaken wings and shorten lives. Wax moths and small hive beetles exploit weak colonies, chewing comb and sliming stores. Wasps test the gates. Robber bees from other colonies try to steal honey and dirt. Pesticides drift across flowers and challenge the delicate systems that bees use to navigate and learn. The hive answers with guards that antennal check arrivals and wrestle intruders, with heat balling to cook small invaders, with propolis to narrow doors and seal seams, and with hygienic behavior, uncapping and removing sick brood to limit disease. A strong colony is not one without threats, but one with responses. Bees and people share a long, practical friendship. Pollination is invisible work that fills markets. Fruit set, seed production, yields in orchards and fields. Many crops depend on managed hives trucked where and when blossoms open. Wild bees and other pollinators carry their share too, and diverse plantings help all of them. In a backyard, a shallow pebble-filled water dish gives safe drinking spots. Native flowers staggered through the seasons keep nectar and pollen available from early spring to frost. Reducing or avoiding broad-spectrum pesticides protects more than bees. It protects the whole small nation of helpful insects that keep green places working. Through the year, the superorganism changes shape. Spring is expansion. Comb drawn quickly, brood ramps up, swarms occur. Summer is peak flow, foraging long hours, honey ripening, brood cycling steady. Late summer and fall shift to storage. Bees pack winter food, raise long-lived winter bees with more fat and protein, and constrict the brood nest. Winter is a test. The cluster moves slowly across honey stores, ventilates moisture, and rides out storms in a dark hum. If the ledger balances, the city wakes again with the first pollen, willow, maple, crocus, and begins the cycle anew. Strength here looks like coordination more than force. A single worker cannot build a wall, but 1,000 can weave one in an afternoon. One scout cannot survey a valley, but dozens sampling in different directions can map it. No central boss plans the day. Local signals and simple rules yield complex intelligence. Cool brood? Fan or fetch water, empty comb, good flow, build and store, queen lost, raise one, crowded, split. The city thinks with many small minds and no single command. Myths are worth brushing away. Bees are not out to sting. Workers die when they do. Most stings come from defense of the entrance or from being pinched. Move slow, give space, and they choose work over war. Honey is not bee food stolen from them in good beekeeping. Ethical keepers leave or feed enough for winter and harvest only surplus. Not every bee on a flower is a honeybee. The world is rich with solitary bees and bumblebees that deserve the same courtesy of habitat and clean bloom. Stand near a hive on a calm afternoon and you will hear the logic. Incoming bees land with pollen packed like golden saddlebags. Outgoing bees launch light and purposeful. At the threshold, guards taste the air and touch antennae to confirm a shared password of scent. Inside, comb glows with stored summer. Brood cells tick like clocks. Somewhere in the center, the queen moves under a living escort, and nurses bend over pearly larvae as if over small fires that must not go out. So here is the truth of the honeybee. It is cooperation made visible. It speaks in scent and dance, cools rooms with water and wind, warms them with muscle, and turns a landscape of scattered blooms into a pantry that survives winter. It grows by division, defends by coordination, and thrives when flowers are diverse and seasons are steady. If you carry one lesson from its life, carry this. Many small, well-timed acts can turn sunlight into security. At dusk, the flight line slows. The last forager arrives heavy and hands off a final drop. Guards face the dark. Inside, fanning eases to a hush as the brood settles, and the city that flies becomes a warm, breathing chamber of wax and intention. Morning will come, and with it, work tuned to weather, flowers, and need. The bees will lift again, cooperating, communicating, and converting sunlight into sweetness and seed. That is the life of the bees. Tell us what you think and which animal you want us to explore next.